Educated at Brandon High School, Brentwood College in Victoria, BC Brandon College in 1938, and the University of Toronto. He got his BA in 1935, his MD in 1938, and his MS in 1938. His postgraduate medical and surgical training included surgical residency under Dr. W. E. Gali at the Toronto General Hospital in 1938 to 1941, and as a research fellowship at the Johns Hopkins University Hospital in 1946 to 1947, where he trained in vascular and cardiac surgery under Dr. Richard Bain and Dr. Alfred Bloch, the founder of modern cardiac surgery. In 1941, he married Margaret Ruth Jennings, the assistant head nurse at the Toronto General Hospital. He served in the Royal Canadian Army Medical Corps in the field of transfusion unit from 1941 and 1942, and then as a graded surgeon with the 6th Canadian Casualty Clearance Station in England, Normandy, and Western Europe from 1942 to 1945. After the war and the completion of his research fellowship at St. John's Hospital, Dr. Bigelow returned to Toronto and was appointed in the surgical staff at Toronto General Hospital in 1947 and as associate professor in the Department of Surgery at the University of Toronto in 1948. In 1953, he was appointed head of the 3rd Division General Surgery of the Toronto General Hospital. From 1956 until his retirement in 1977, Dr. Bigelow served as head of the Cardiovascular Surgery Division at the Toronto General Hospital, and from 1947 to 1977 as director of the Cardiovascular Laboratory in the Bantam Research Institute, where he and his colleagues and research assistant conducted pioneer research in hyperthermia, hibernation, and cardiac pacemaker technology. In 1949, he performed only the second material commissiotomy operation in Canada, pioneering what would become a standard closed-heart surgical procedure throughout the 1950s. In the 1950s, he was one of the only 2 or 3 surgeons to adopt the internal mammary artery implantation operation. His extensive practice in this procedure and clinical research proved to operations effectiveness as documented in the paper he and his colleagues presented at the American Association for Thoracic Surgical meeting in 1962 and published the following year. This prompted general acceptance of the Weinberg procedure and led ultimately to the development of modern astrocoronary bypass surgery. In 1951, in the collaboration with Dr. J. C. Cullingham and Dr. J. A. Hobbs of the National Research Council of Canada, Dr. Bigelow developed and tested the first artificial cardiac pacemaker for human use. This design was reported in the paper published that year, formed the basis for subsequent technological development and reformation, leading to the modern cardiac pacemaker. Between 1947 and 1965, in collaboration with research associate at the Cardiovascular Laboratory in the Boeing's Research Institute, Dr. Bigelow performed the series of experiments to establish the physiological effects, medical benefits, and the sole technique for introducing and reducing human hyperthermia. This would make possible the first open heart surgery in 1953 and form the practical and theological basis for what has become the standard practice of cooling the heart during surgery.